So,
yes, I would request all of you to please turn on your video as well, at least for the next 5-6 minutes. Yeah, thanks. Okay, let's start. So good afternoon. Welcome back to yet another session of World Trade Centers. We at World Trade Centers, Bengaluru, Chennai, Kochi are pleased to associate with NetAccess India, which is backed by the famous Murugappa Group. Today, we are going to talk about cybersecurity, particularly on how cybersecurity is of utmost importance and what is it that businesses of any scale should know about it. My name is Vivek George. I'm joined by my colleague Yoga Balram. As you know, cybersecurity is something that we cannot overstate. There are multiple threats, which is, I could say, evolving constantly, and businesses today, whether it's you are an MNC, whether you are a medium MSME or a startup or any scale, businesses today they face this challenge, and I could say it's an unprecedented challenge in protecting their assets and data integrity. So today we have gathered a few experts who will be delving into this crucial topic. They will be talking about the emerging threats and also some proactive measures that as a business, you should be mindful of and you should be adopting to tackle this complicated thing. I'm sure they'll be able to guide us through some practical insights from their experiences. All of them are experienced in that domain, and also share with us some best practices, basically as to how to empower our own organization and to a large extent be cybersecurity resilient. Now we have 3 speakers from NetAccess. So we have Mr. Krishnan SR, who is the DGM for information security. He handles IT security portfolio for NetAccess. He comes with over 2 decades of experience, and he has worked with a lot of multinational corporations before. So Krishnan, it's a pleasure to have you in our forum. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation and being with us for today. Mr. Krishnan is also joined by his colleague, Mr. Jayanta Chowdhury, who is the AGM and he takes care of IT infrastructure management. He also comes with almost 2 decades of experience in IT, data center, and cloud service operations. And he has been with the company, the Murugappa Group, since 2006. I also have Avinash Ravuri, who is the AGM for NetAccess India. Avinash has been a known friend for years now. So it's a pleasure to have Krishnan, Jayanta, and Avinash on behalf of NetAccess India, presenting us, telling us, sharing their insights on this particular topic. On behalf of everyone gathered here, I welcome all the three of our speakers today. I extend a warm welcome to all the distinguished participants. We have a mixed crowd like any other webinar. So I'm sure you would all be passionate about securing your organizational digital assets. So throughout this webinar, I encourage you to please actively participate. We have 3 speakers. So please don't wait until the end to put in your questions. I've requested them to answer your questions as and when it comes on the QA box. So please put in the questions. If you need to tell us anything, use the chat box. I once again thank you all for your interest. I'm confident that by this end of this session, you will have some kind of takeaways and of course some actionable steps. I will request the speakers as we progress, please put in your contact details in the chat box so that if tomorrow they need to connect with you, it is helpful. Once again, I wish all of you a good session and I hope it will be an insightful one for all of us. Let us begin our journey. I hand it to Jayanta for his presentation. Over to you.
thank you, Vivek, and thank you for introducing NetAccess and also setting the context for this webinar. So just adding to the context that Vivek was actually saying, we wanted to organize this webinar to simplify the cybersecurity jargons that is very confusing for most of us. I'm sure that most of the organizations have already started their cybersecurity journey, and many of the organizations are at a high level of maturity in their security posture. But there are many organizations that still are on the journey, and they're overwhelmed by the amount of information that comes to them with respect to their data security, the disclosures happening in the public, and whatnot. Every day we come across news that some company or the other is being attacked, or there is a huge business impact, financial impact. So what we thought was to have a webinar where we can put this in a simplified manner, so that organizations of any scale or size can take away something or the other insights based on what level they are in. So the agenda, I'll just take you through the. So yeah, this is what the webinar is about, what you need to know in order to actually start your cybersecurity journey or enhance already what you have implemented. So this is the agenda. We would actually touch upon what is the current cybersecurity landscape and what is coming in the year 2024 and beyond. So, and we would be also looking at some of the major attacks that have been happening based on the various data that most of the big companies have collected, and they bring out this annual reports of security, cyber security reports. So based on that, there are some findings, very interesting findings, and we'll move on to some advanced security solutions that are being proposed, and it has been accepted industry-wide. Then there is the cybersecurity frameworks and standards. These are globally recognized standards, and if the organizations follow these standards, definitely they will benefit, and they will be assured that their data is secure, and the users are safely communicating with their counterparts. Then the next section will be touching upon the NetAccess cybersecurity service portfolio, which we cater to our customers. So the cybersecurity landscape for 2024 majorly will be the rise in the ransomware attacks, which is a persistent threat to almost all organizations, no matter what the size is. So many of the organizations must have been a victim, or they must have come across certain attacks on their IT assets and their data. So this is on the rise. This will continue to be a major threat to the organizations. Then there is this increased AI powered attacks, but there is a lot of buzz on this particular topic. But what we see that based on the Verizon data breach investigation report of 2024, there is not a lot of chatter that is happening in the cyber criminal forums or communications that using these AI powered tools, but it's still in infancy. But taking into account the AI capabilities, definitely this will pose a threat in the coming years. Quantum computing, with its immense power, computing power, will definitely attempt to break the existing encryption algorithms. That definitely will make the cybersecurity experts look at various new techniques to strengthen the encryptions. And the next is IoT vulnerabilities. With the advent of most of our devices are now connected to the internet. Those are again in turn connected to the corporate networks. So definitely there is a threat from the IoT, which are almost not patched and unmanaged. And electric vehicle hacks. These whatever I am actually mentioning, these are some of the threats that are already there, and some are new threats that will be generating over the years. Electric vehicle hacks are basically most of the electric vehicles are having some form of digital devices hooked on it, and those are in turn connected to networks. So in case those are compromised, the entire electric vehicle infrastructure may come to a halt. This is one of the upcoming threats. And the hybrid infrastructure, where organizations have data scattered across multiple clouds, and to manage those clouds you need modern security tools, modern security frameworks that will actually protect your data wherever it is residing. And the supply chain attacks, basically it is a nation state activity where they try to disrupt the public utilities like power, like the healthcare systems, transportation system, which will affect the normal flow of human activities. Then biometric authentication challenges. This is one of the challenges. If nowadays organizations are adopting various biometric type of authentications, but if these are compromised, if a fingerprint is compromised, it's no way we can replicate it, or once it's compromised, very difficult to recover from those type of compromises. It's not a password that can be changed, or MFA device can be changed, but biometric authentication compromises are a challenging thing. And there are some countermeasures for these threats. AI is being extensively used and incorporated into the traditional tools of SIEM, so to actually reduce the security analyst fatigue. They have to go through tons of alerts and try to identify if there is any malicious or anomalous activity and stop them. But using AI tools, it's much more, the accuracy is much more higher, and the fatigue factor is eliminated. So we will see more of AI being introduced into cybersecurity tools. See, adoption of zero trust. This is one of the foundational things now, foundational structure of SASE framework, which Gartner in the year of 2019 had proposed for a more cloud-centric security solution. And then we have the DevOps. We need to look at developing applications, keeping in mind the security as a central component while developing it. From the ground up, if the security is taken care, if the best practices of application development with respect to security is incorporated, then there is a reduced chance of applications getting compromised. Thereby the organization's data exfiltration is reduced. And data privacy. Actually, most of the governments now will be stricter in formulating regulations where organizations are held responsible if there is a data leak of personal data. So this is also these are some of the countermeasures that we have to handle these threats. So the next one is about the state of cybercrime. It's like 80 when this data actually we picked up from the Microsoft Digital Defense report, annual digital. These are very very good. It gives you a very deep insight into what is happening around the world based on the data they collect, based on the telemetrics data they collect on their systems. So based on that, they found that 80 to 90% of all successful ransomware compromises originates from unmanaged devices like BYOD devices, mobile devices, tabs, which are actually not part of the corporate security infrastructure, which doesn't have policies deployed on this and are left to attacks. Then if you see the other, this is one a major contributor to the security attacks. And there is the other end where you have the password-based attacks. Weak passwords actually are a big contributor to these attacks, where your credentials are stolen. It is used for infiltrating into the system and then escalating the permissions and then move laterally to infect all the other systems in the organization. So these are the two things that is one insight which is interesting. Like 70% of the organizations are not big organizations. These organizations are having 500 employees. These are small organizations, but still they are getting targeted. Now, especially in India, since the economic growth is on a trajectory, so Indian firms and organizations are a good target to extort money through ransomware. And many of these human-operated ransomware attacks have jumped manifold. So we see a lot of targeted attacks happening. Thereby, the organization infrastructure is crippled, and there is a ransomware that is demanded. And even after the if ransomware is paid, there is a big chance that the attacker will actually exfiltrate the data and publish the private data onto the dark web, where it will be used for future attacks. These are some of the things that are now prevalent. So now, if you actually see the pie, most of the pie is actually occupied by three things: the ransomware encounters and successful credential thefts using stolen credentials. They attack the organization infrastructure, and then there is the phishing attempts. These are all these attacks are almost successful, and some sort of disruption happened in the organizations. But these attacks can be prevented by using certain very simple cyber hygiene, like having all the users onboarded with MFA, multi-factor authentication, challenging with a second factor authentication, like your mobile, or through a Microsoft Authenticator OTP, or pushing it's a push, like you approve the access. So the other thing is following the zero trust principles. So this is the foundational principle on which the modern frameworks works, and it is being recommended by almost every cybersecurity expert, that the organization should adapt over a period of time the zero trust principles and the SASE framework, which Gartner is propagating. And the other one is setting up your XDR and EDRs, the endpoint endpoint defense, like extended detect and response softwares on your laptops or desktops or servers, where it can actually through AI ML algorithms, it can actually detect any anomalous activities on the machine. For example, a user behavior, a baseline user behavior is actually recorded, and if there is something that is found to be malicious, it immediately prevents it, and it responds by either quarantining the machine, or it alerts the SOC to take action. And then one more simple thing is to keep all your systems up to date with the current patches, with the current firmware updates on all your machines, all your storages, all the user end machines, servers. Everything has to be kept updated, so that these vulnerabilities that are actually announced in the public are taken care. Then you have to protect your data through a very robust backup solution, which is actually ransomware aware, where your data should not be changed. The backed up data should not be changed. There should be an air gap between your production environment and also your backup storage. So there are quite a few cloud backup services that help you in protecting your data that is ransomware aware, and it's protected from getting infected by ransomware. So if we follow this, at least 99% of all your security threats can be handled by following these fundamental security controls. Now coming to this recent security incidents, we have come across Akira ransomware incident, and it was infected. We have found that how the system was found that it was attacked by Akira ransomware. We found IOCs, like indicators of compromises. The small remnants of the attack will be in the form of files, in the form of encrypted files with some extension .akira, or certain user accounts getting created on your directory services. There will be certain tools that may have been used to do lateral movement of the ransomware. These are some of the things that were found on the systems that were impacted. But the impact on there was no luckily there was no impact on the business, except for few Active Directory dependent applications. Now, the process of actually recovering, we are showing the process to recovery after the ransomware attack happened on the systems. So we scanned, the systems were scanned using a EDR, trying to find out if there are any malicious connections happening to C2s, that command and control sites. Then we isolated those impacted machines. We isolated the network and also the AD domains. So the entire domain was actually isolated from the forest, so that nothing gets replicated, and and the DNS was also disjointed from the domains. We formatted, and the IOCs, whatever IOCs we found, those indicators like IPs, like certain hashes which were found in the systems, we collected that, and we consolidated and we uploaded into the SIM system. The next stage was to recover from the incident. What we did, what was done was we rebuilt the AD domain in an isolated network, and using a EDR, we continuously monitored if there is any spurious traffic that was generating from the restored domain controllers. We reset all the user credentials and disable the group policies. We reviewed the default policies also, so that there is no unknown policies that are running on the system. So this way, the recovery process was done, and then this isolated domain was kept under observation for 15 days, and also the network was also being monitored using EDR and SIM tools, so that if there is any traffic, spurious traffic going in and out, we to monitor any malicious activities going on. So we found none. After that, when we thought that we have done also a vulnerability assessment, using the vulnerability assessment, we were certified that it's good to go and connect to the internet. So some of the preventive measures to actually reduce the scope of attack, we replaced the AV with an EDR, and also MFA was enabled on all the VPN users, implemented the labs. See, labs is a very simple tool, but it is very effective. It is actually it actually protects your thousands of local administrator accounts on your on our laptops and desktops, so that each laptop is assigned a random password, which is actually centrally monitored, and it can be managed centrally. So this is a very good tool which Microsoft provides for the Windows platform users. And also there was a user awareness program conducted to keep them informed about these attacks and how to overcome if they find any malicious links or emails that they receive. So these were some of the initial access techniques that they have used. So every adversary, before they get into the system, they also follow a certain process. They have some tactics. They have a set of techniques that they will implement, and they will try to get into the system. That is the initial access. Then they will start probing. What else can they do? They will do the permission elevation. They will start creating the users in your directory services, and after that, they will that is at the persistent stage. Then they will do the defensivation by disabling your antivirus and try to stealthily do all the encryptions, so that it's unknown to the user, undetectable by the normal active antivirus softwares. This is how the impact is done. The last stage of the ransomware attack is to encrypt the files and delete the this one volume copies, the backup copies. We also found a ransomware note on the machines that were impacted. So it asking for a ransomware, and there was a link where we have to communicate with the attacker. So all those were not done in this particular case. We were successful in containing the spread and also recover from whatever existing systems we had. We made sure that none of the systems are having any leftover remnants of those ransomware executables. There's one more incident that we had come across about email phishing. It was first reported that a user was user received a mail from vendor stating that the payment was not received by the vendor. So on investigation, it was found that there were some logins that happened from Nigerian IPs, and some sensitive data got leaked out from these compromised accounts. And upon further investigation, we had done the investigation using the SIM logs and machine logins, user logins, the machine logins. We were able to find that these attacks had taken place from some Nigerian IPs. So immediately the passwords were reset and compromised. The webmail was disabled and scanned. The IPs were blacklisted. The hashes were shared to the AV teams. This is how. But what happened in this case, there was a money transaction that happened, which went to the adversary. So in future, to prevent these type of things, we implemented the multi-factor authentication for the organization, strengthened the password policy, and then we conducted awareness program, which is a continuous program nowadays. And also the entire organization is being monitored by SOC. So these are some of the recommendations that these are some of the recommendations that organizations can follow. This is like identify and protect stage. We have 3 stages: detect and respond, and then the recover stage. So in the identify and protect, organizations are recommended to do a risk assessment to find out what type of assets are there and what is the criticality of the assets. In case those assets are compromised, what is the impact on the organization's business objectives? These will come out very clearly when you do a risk assessment. And also you will be able to know what are the assets. Asset management tool. Using asset management tool, you will be able to manage your assets much more efficiently. Then implement the patch management. These are some of the things that you can right away take up during the plan 1, during the year 1, so that you actually improve your security posture. Implement labs, implement multi-factor authentication. This can be taken over. It with a very low budget, you will be able to implement these security controls. In the stage 2, we can go ahead and implement the DNS extensions, security extensions, which actually encrypt. Now, the DNS is a very vital infrastructure where for communication on the cloud and anywhere in the organization. So the traffic is actually not encrypted. So the DNS security extensions ensure that the traffic of DNS is also encrypted using these DNS features. Then the next in the stage 2, the DLP, data loss protection, also can be looked at, so that your information can be tagged based on the sensitivity. Implement the PIM-PAM, that is the privileged identity and access management, so that your admins are protected and they don't directly log into the machines. They'll have to go through the PIM-PAM system to have access, and every action by the administrator are recorded in the PIM-PAM systems. Nowadays, even when we are implementing MFA, there are instances where MFA is being bypassed through phishing. So CISA, the agency in US, the security agency in US is strongly recommending to adopt this phishing resistant MFA. And this implement SASE. This is a long-term and expenditure heavy solution. It's a SASE. The full form is Secure Access, Secure Edge Service. And then these are some of the vendors. Sentinel-1 EDR. It provides you the endpoint detection and response. Trend Micro is well-known antivirus. Veeam and Veritas are well-known backup vendors. And Zoho Asset Management, which will help you in actually managing your assets. Zscaler provides, Zscaler and HP provides you the SASE frameworks, SSE, that is Secure Service Edge framework. Then going to this detect and respond function, you have the stage 1. You can plan in the year 1 to perform a VAPT, like on your infrastructure, implement SIEM, and subscribe to brand monitoring services. These all can be done by a managed secure service provider. So they will help the organizations in performing these activities. In the stage 2, year 2, that is implement SOAR. This SOAR also can be managed by your security service providers, and perform periodic red teaming exercises and create standard operating procedures. If these two functions are implemented, organizations to a great extent will be secure. And in case of any incidents, there should be a recovery plan for you. We need to have an incident and containment and eradication plan, and roll back to a secure state from your backups. These are some of the things that you'll have to have in the organization in case there is a security incident. So under the detect and response, these are the tools, Nessus, then CIS benchmarks to do a VAPT. CIS benchmarks have certain build kits that are readily available for the members, who can just download those build kits and install them on their Windows, so that all the recommended security controls, group policies are activated. QRadar is a SIEM, Splunk, QRadar are SIEM tools. And these are the scanning tools for VA, vulnerability assessment. So this is what in my previous slide I have mentioned about SASE, that Secure Access, Secure Edge. It's a cloud native secure, since all our infrastructure, all our data assets, information are all scattered across multiple platforms. Either it is on premises, on AWS cloud, or Google Cloud, or Azure. It's all scattered. Also the type of services, now it's not all homegrown web applications. We are also subscribing to software as a service. For example, Office 365, Google Workspace, Salesforce automation, all these are cloud-based. SAP is also now cloud-based. So if you see, there are multiple applications that are available everywhere, and you have multiple type of access, that is entities trying to access this resources. So you need something which actually takes care more efficiently, so that you have the visibility of what is going on in the system, how your data is flowing, who is accessing what, and whether the access is actually required or not. All these are taken care by this particular framework, these set of components which form the core of SASE. There are two parts to it. One is the WAN edge, where you have the all the network controls, like your SD-WAN, where you can build your breakaways to cloud from your local branches, the routing, the WAN optimization, then your SaaS acceleration. All this helps the user to have a consistent experience, so that wherever he is, whichever device he is accessing, he has a consistent experience as compared to our traditional way of accessing our data using VPN. When we are when we are inside our corporate network, the speed and response of the applications is high. When we are outside, due to limitations in bandwidth, the experience is a little lower. So this is how this makes a seamless experience when it comes to network. And combined with that, the security part also comes in, so that the data is protected and uh, uh, attacks are prevented by these zero trust network access. The CASB, the cloud access security broker, the SWG is the uh, secure web gateway. It's the traditional web gateway, but it is more fine-tuned to cloud data handling. Then the firewall as a service, which all these services are actually it's a SaaS model, software as a service model. The RBI is a remote browser isolation, where it follows the zero trust principle, where your browsing activity is also taken like it's not trusted. So what happens is, this service provider, whoever is providing your SaaS services, will provide you a container for the user. So the browsing takes place in the container. As soon as he finishes the browsing, the container will be dismantled or decommissioned. And again, when he tries to browse certain sites which are part of the policy, again the container will get spawned. The browsing will take place in the isolated container, which is secured, so that no ransomware comes into your desktop or laptop. So that is how it's protected. The DLP, all these systems, they are actually at some point of time they have small portions of DLP and that. So this is forming now. It is being heavily adopted by organizations large and small. So Gartner has already predicted that by 2025, 16% of the enterprises will be adopting this framework. Then these are some of the cybersecurity frameworks and standards. The CIS benchmarking. So globally, it is a recognized frameworks. All these frameworks, you can start with the CIS benchmarkings, then the build kits. Then if developers are following the OWASP top 10, so and graduate slowly up the ladder and certify the organization with the ISMS. So the next, I would be, thank you for giving me this opportunity. I would be handing over this next section, which will touch upon the NetAccess cybersecurity service portfolio. Over to Krishnan. Thank you.
So good evening, everyone. Thank you for participating in this event. So we're thrilled to welcome you aboard for today's cybersecurity event. During our session, so our esteemed NetAccess with our esteemed NetAccess team, I will begin by discussing our current cybersecurity. Sorry, let me turn on the
Krishnan, I think we are not able to hear you. Okay, I can see you now.
So is it right? Okay.
Yes. You can share your screen if you want.
Okay, thanks. So Agnes, please.
I request you to please conclude in next 10 minutes if you can, because we would like to take a few questions.
Yeah, I will slightly touch upon our services, then
Perfect.
we will close it. Okay,
yeah.
Fine.
Yeah, thank you. We can see your screen as well. Yes.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. So thank you for participating in this event. So we are welcoming you for the cybersecurity event. So during our session with our esteemed NetAccess team, I will begin by discussing our current cybersecurity capabilities and the services we offer. So the following services are already offered by our NetAccess company. So we are serving in this market for more than 7 years and providing the following cybersecurity services. The first one is the privilege access management as a service we are providing to our end customers. So the main advantage of this privilege access management is to increase the protection in the infrastructure access, and create more audit-friendly environment, and reduce the entry point for threat actors. So these are the three main advantage of using the PAM. So the main feature of the PAM is to manage the credentials of infrastructures like servers, network devices. And the second one is about the access control to define the access for whom. So this is the second one. The third one is about the monitoring and auditing. So the third one is used to monitor the access of the privilege accounts by video logs. So as and when any audit requirements come, so we can able to show the evidence of the PAM video logs. The final one is the session management. So with the help of the session management, we can able to avoid unprivileged accesses, and we can also stop the threat actors access into the PAM systems. So it is highly secure. So these are the main 4 advantage of using the PAM. So this is the one we are serving to our customer. The second service is a security assessment services. Please. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So in the security assessment services, we are providing the following services to our end customers. So the first one is about the security risk assessment. So we do a risk assessment for our customer with the following criteria. First, we will get the asset identification from the customers to know provide the risk assessment status. The second one is the threat assessment. So in that, we will identify the potential threats and their sources. And the third one is about the vulnerability assessments. So in that, we will provide the data about identify the weakness or vulnerabilities that are exist on their existing infrastructures. The fourth one is a risk analysis. So we will evaluate the risk, and we'll also provide the impact for the identified risk. And the final about the risk mitigations. So we will develop the strategy to mitigate or manage the identified risks. So these are the 5 strategies where we will provide the risk assessment and we will provide the report to our end customers. And the second one is about the risk gap assessment, security gap assessment. So we will analyze the gap with the help of the following parameters: the comparative analysis, comparing the best practice against the established standards in the organization. And the second one is identifying the gaps, highlighting the areas where the security measures do not meet or desired record levels. And finally, we will provide the recommendations from our side about the improvement and the continuous security portion improvement. So these are the 3 steps where we used to follow for the security gap assessment. And the third one is the compliance assessment. So the compliance assessment for based on their standards, industry regulatories. So we will provide the compliance assessments based, and we will provide the following as a result to end customers. So to reviewing, we will provide the documentations and we will provide the testing results. And finally, we will submit the report. So this is the way we will provide the compliance assessment report to our end customer. The final is the vulnerability assessment and management. So to identify and quantifying the vulnerability in the systems, applications, and the infrastructures for known vulnerabilities and prioritize them for the remediations. So we will identify the threats and also we will provide the remediation steps to mitigate those identified vulnerabilities. So we will do this VABT also in our services. Yes. So the second major service is the SOC services. So we are having a SOC services, and we do have a capability for following. So the first one is about the SIM monitoring. So SIM monitoring is a comprehensive approach for the organization cybersecurity to identify the internal threats with the help of integrating the infrastructures like all the IT devices, critical assets into the SIM device. Okay, so what is the benefit of SIM is, so we can able to identify the malicious suspicious activities exist on the infrastructures, to identify the threat vectors, attack vectors, and also we can able to identify the unauthorized remote accesses, critical services can be monitorable with the help of the SIM service. And also we can able to monitor the malware activities, and the IP reputations of access exist on the infrastructure also can be monitorable and can be alerted with the help of the SIM service. So we are using IBM Curator as a platform, and we have enabled the multi-tenant environment over there. So we can able to onboard multiple clients into the SIM infrastructure. And the second product is a breach attack simulation. So breach attack simulation is nothing but we can simulate any breach or the vulnerabilities, and we can provide the results based on the breach attack simulation report. So this is a major things where we can able to ensure that the stages of the SIM tool effectiveness can be measurable. So the SIM used to work with the help of the correlation tools. The rules can be triggered with the help of the BAS tool to ensure that we have configured the correct correlation tool on the SIM. So this is also one of the service we are providing. The third one is about the threat intelligence. So we used to have a threat intelligence database from the regulatory perspective from CERT-In, and also we are having a threat intel from IBM Curator, and also from the CloudSec, also one of the third-party threat intelligence we are integrated with our SIM to provide more visibility about the threats persist on the internal network. So this is the one of the mechanism we are providing. The fourth one is about the threat hunting. So threat hunting is nothing but is a proactive process for searching the malicious activities against the existing threat on the global. So we used to get the messages from the global MSSP providers like ENY, and so they used to provide the measurable findings from them from their client perspective. So we used to do the searching in our SIM tool to understand about that the identified vulnerabilities are there on the network. If it is available, then we will take action to correct. We will take a corrective action. So that we will do it with the help of the threat hunting as one of the service. And the fifth one is the SOC assessments. So with the help of the SOC assessments, we can evaluate on the effectiveness of the SOC detection mechanisms exist on any customer places. So we used to do the examination by identifying the SOC processes, technologies, and adequately prepare define against the response security incidents in an effective manner. So we used to calculate the incidents effective results and also the SOC processes. So to deliver the SOC assessment status. So with the help of that, any customer can able to identify their SOC maturity level. Yes. The final one about the incident response. So any organization is facing any incident, cybersecurity incidents. It involves identifying, containing, eradicating, or removing of security breaches of incidents. So that can be covered with the help of the incident response as a service. Yes, Manish. So this one I covered. Yes, please. Go on. Yes. Yes. So this is the email phishing campaign as a service. So we do have a phishing simulation mechanism. So we used to operate like train, fish, and analyze. So this is service we are providing for our internal and the external customers. So the steps we used to follow is we used to collect the list of email ID from the customers. Then initially we will circulate the awareness posters with all the employees. The second one is about we used to conduct the email phishing campaign, and the campaign result will be circulated to the end management. Finally, we will provide the videos about the awareness to the end users. So these are the three steps we used to follow and provide the result to the end customer for the email phishing campaign. So this is a way where they can improve the security awareness among the employees of the organization. Yes. So these are the stages we used to follow that I discussed earlier. Yeah. So the VAPT assessment and penetration testing also we are doing from our side. So we used to follow the following steps. Initially, we used to define the scope for the availability assessment, and we used to collect the information from the end users about that infrastructure details. And the third one is a vulnerability detection. So we do have internal tools, the standard global tools used to identify the vulnerabilities And the fourth one is information analysis and planning. So based on the vulnerability detection, we will define the planning, how to report that incidents or the vulnerability to the end users. And the other one is about the mitigation. Once we identify the vulnerabilities, we will provide the steps to mitigate those identified vulnerabilities to the end customers. And finally, we will submit the result to the end customers. Once the customers confirm about the remediation, so we will re-perform the same activity to ensure that all the vulnerabilities are fixed on their network. Yes. So we are capable to provide the following VAPT services. The first one is about the web application VAPT and the mobile application VAPT, API, and infrastructure VAPT. So we have a multiple tool sets and skill set peoples are available in NetAccess to deliver this service. And the incident management service. So we do have a partnership with the global MSPs like ENY. So we will tie up with the MSP to deliver this service. So first we will start with how the incident was happened, breach was occurred, and we will identify and compromised system, and then we will determine what attackers took or changed. What are the changes were made by the attackers? We will inform to the customers. Then we will prepare the threat intelligence. Then we will go on to the contain and remediate that incident. Finally, the incident is considered closed, and we will provide the final report to the end customers. So this is the way we will use to perform the incident response. So remediation support services. So when we do the VAPT, we use to identify the vulnerabilities, and we will provide the steps and the mechanism how to mitigate those identified vulnerabilities. It's covered in the remediation and support services for any clients. Yes. So when we follow these, when we follow the services of NetAccess, and also Mr. Jayenda has given the information about the global available security controls and technologies to be followed to mitigate the identify vulnerabilities in the any organizations, and we can prepare the robust incident response plan to mitigate the incidents, and collaborate with any MSPs like NetAccess to deliver the SOC as a service to your organization, and build a relationship industry technology for law enforcement and cybersecurity experts to meet your compliance requirement, and foster security aware culture, educate employees on cybersecurity and their role to deliver or create awareness among the employee about the cybersecurity, and maintain compliance other to the industrial security standards. So when you follow these steps, then you can easily accommodate with your regulatory compliance. Then the final is a monitor third-party vendor, ensure robust security practices. So these are the steps. If you follow, means we can easily ensure the best security standard of your organization. Yes. So I hand on to Mr. Avinash, so he will take care of our company backgrounds. Thanks. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, thank you. Just to conclude, I'd like to just showcase some of our cybersecurity customers and our partnerships that we have. And why NetAccess? Since Vivek has introduced, we were formed in 2000, and we are promoted by Murugappa Group, and we are an ISO 27000 2013 certified organization, and we have 600 plus professionals and digital support centers across India. So these are some of our capabilities and value additions. And there are other services that we provide apart from the cybersecurity and infrastructure, information infrastructure services. And we have diversified industry penetration and domain knowledge across manufacturing, retail, non-banking, financial services, hospitality, and MSMEs. And these are our existing customers. Yeah, so we will take up some Q&As now.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Avinash. There are a few questions that have come in. We are bang at 5, but we will extend this by another 5-10 minutes just to answer a few questions. A lot of people have.
Vivek, you're on mute, I think.
Can you hear me? Yoga, am I audible to you?
Yeah, you're audible. We are not able to follow you.
Can you hear me now? Hello.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, thanks. So, we will extend it by another 5 minutes because we are already, we have crossed our scheduled time. A few questions have come in. Maybe any one of you can answer these questions. There is a question from, I don't know from who, it's an anonymous attendee. How can businesses ensure that their remote workforce remains secure? Do you want to take that? How can businesses ensure that their remote workforce remains secure?
Yep. Yeah, actually, you'll have to secure your identity. The first thing is enable your MFA. If MFA is not enabled, you please ensure that that should be first on your list to actually enable your MFA, and then that is one of these zero trust principles based on which, and you need to have a very strong identity and access management system in your organization, so that and implement a EDR that will actually give you an insight on what is happening from the user end. If there is something that malicious or anomalous activities happen, it will detect and prevent that user from accessing the organization's data.
Thanks. There is a question from an SEL professional. In fact, there are multiple questions on the SEL thing.
Yeah,
I would like to,
Vivek, we are unable to hear you.
I don't know why. Yoga, can you just confirm if I am audible to you?
Yeah.
I don't know why, Janda, maybe you'll just need to figure it out.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So there are questions on the supply chain, basically on, how to ensure that, cyber threats are avoided. How can we have a strong password policy across the chain? So you have spoken about multiple case studies. You have spoken about best practices, but can you also throw in some light on supply chain process? If you can help them understand maybe in a brief manner as to what can be the steps or what are the best thing that we can ensure that there is absolutely, whenever there is a threat, you can tackle it.
Yeah, your supply chain, whoever the vendors or partners with which you work, you'll have to do a regular audit, find out what are the vulnerabilities these vendors or down the line partners have, and start plugging those gaps by implementing the best practices that are being available in the guidelines of various cybersecurity frameworks.
There is a comment from Sanjeev Marathe. He was asking that, he's actually asking a question on how to prevent mobile attacks for a layman, but this also applies for smaller organization. For the time being, he says they are using iOS for additional protection. Any comments on that?
Yeah, if these mobiles are allowed to access your organization data, definitely you'll have to look at some MDM solutions, like Microsoft has its Intunes. Then various other vendors have MDM solutions. For example, the MAS 360. Then you have other MDM solutions also. You'll have to look at that so that these are managed. At least the organization data is safe. It containerizes the organization data from the private data.
Anil Kumar is checking in how is the regular MFA different than a phishing resistant MFA?
Yeah, that is what now the trend is like. MFAs are also being faced. Some adversary in the middle comes in and tries to check on your SMS OTP. SMS OTP on SMS was already this one. It has its own vulnerability, and also through some flood of MFA authentication, the user will be forced to accept. If there are thousands of MFA authentications coming to his mobile, at some point of time he will make a mistake and accept it. After accepting that, the adversary will have full control on the identity. So it's
Okay.
better, it's the CISA, the security agency of USA, recommends the next step is to implement the phishing resistant SMA using FIDO. FIDO 2 is the standard for phishing resistant MFA. Wherever you have this human interaction with the system, definitely there will be a mistake done by a human, and the compromises happen. So the FIDO 2 eliminates the human element, human interaction with the system.
There is a question on what is the role of employee training playing an important role in preventing cyber threats?
Yeah, by creating awareness, employees will know how to identify a malicious impersonated email that is coming, or impersonated SMS or call that is coming to him. So based on the domains or based on the sender addresses, which normally displays on his screen, using that or using certain language elements, like if it's coming from a higher management, the language that is used normally, if it differs from the mail, suspicious mail he receives, so he can take action. Either he can report back to the security team for them to analyze in more detail and then take action. So awareness is very important to build awareness within the organization. Every user in the organization is responsible for the data security.
There are multiple questions on, how can you ensure that your organization is protected from spyware softwares, which I think by now you would have some kind of idea as to how it can be done. So with that, we conclude. Thank you so
There
much.
is one more
sure.
about EDR, MDR, and XDR.
Mhm.
So it is all based on the budget that you have. MDR is a managed detection and response. There are many security service providers that actually manage the entire cyber security of the organization. EDR is for your endpoints. That is the stepping stone for actually protecting and understanding what is going on in the system. XDR is much more, it's a holistic integration software that actually integrates all your data sources into one single console and tries to find out any of these malicious activities taking place in your system.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So with that, I think we are done. There are a couple more questions which can be taken later, or maybe you can ask to the speakers directly. We will share their coordinates with you. So once again, thank you all. I can see a lot of good feedback on this program from a few of our participants. So thanks. I believe that it was useful and it was beneficial for you. We would be sharing the recording. We'll be sharing the presentation once the speakers are ready with it. And please stay tuned for our forthcoming events. We will keep you posted. Jayenda, Krishnan, Avinash, and the entire team at NetAccess, thank you once again for your support and also for being with us to share your thoughts on a very important, relevant subject. By now, you would have sensed that most of the participants are aware of what is happening around. And thanks to a lot of incidents that have happened recently, the awareness level, of course, have gone up significantly, and let it continue to do. And with that, we conclude. You all have a wonderful evening. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.